Welcome to IHIP News, where we share our opinion about the news that is important to us. Pumps, the Trump campaign is in an absolute free fall.
The clown car has gotten more unhinged and more vile every single day since Kamala Harris's announcement.
So when you have the biggest narcissist at the top of the ticket, it's trickle down crazy, trickle down incompetence. And I want to show you what Trump's up to at his Atlanta rally.
Together we will stop Kamala Harris's nation-wrecking. I'll tell you what, when you see what...
Okay, listen. At this point, everybody in the Trump campaign, his family, and the right-wing media, this is elder abuse.
Absolutely.
Putting this man out there and covering for him and acting like that's normal is insane. This is straight up elder abuse. I don't know why they haven't replaced this man from the top of the ticket. He's clearly in significant mental decline and he's weak. I mean, that is so weak that he can't even finish a sentence and he wants to be the leader of the free world. But speaking of the free world, this is his dementia and his senility is so bad. I think he forgets which side of the team he's on. Listen to this.
I'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal. Did you see the deal we made?
So he'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin and then follows up, did you see the deal we made? Meaning like he's with Vladimir Putin. He's so unhinged mentally that he thinks he's cheering for Russia. I mean, this is a massive, massive problem considering he wants to be leader of the free world. He's forgetting which side of the fence he's on.
The mental decompensation of his sociopathy and malignant narcissism, I mean, it's on full display. Add in dementia, all of those things. Why he is so mad at Joe Biden is because he wanted to tell everybody Vladimir Putin would only release the hostages to him. And he goes on and on about what a great deal it is for Vladimir Putin because the United States gave so much. During his administration, he got very few hostages back. And when he did, it was an unbelievable landslide win for Russia. This man is so narcissistic, he could not be happy that U.S. hostages held in Russia are coming home.
He's so obsequious to Vladimir Putin as well. It is just incredibly dangerous considering that Vladimir Putin is a war criminal and how he wants to, an American president saying he wants to congratulate Vladimir Putin. Everybody around Trump is complicit in this abject shit show that is Trumpism. Those are the serious implications from his presidency. Here's some of the petty things I like to traffic in. At the same Atlanta rally, I want to show you what it looked like. So there's some empty seats.
Yeah.
And Trump goes into detail during his speech. A presidential candidate for the United States of America trying to provide cover as to why these seats are empty. And if you look at it, Seth, play the next one.
We'll come to America.
That's Kamala's at the top.
Los Angeles Olympics. And by the way,
see all those empty seats below?
Yes.
I was the president. I also got you a thing called the World Cup, which is
okay. And here he is trying to take credit with his very lackluster crowd.
Very lackluster.
A lot of empty seats. And he's trying to take credit for the Olympics and for the World Cup, which he has nothing to do with either one. And I just want to say that while the world is enjoying the Olympics, there is a butthurt titty baby parade over on Fox where they are just wound up like cheap clocks because of the drag queens doing the Greek dinner, that they can't even enjoy the Olympics. They can't. You know who the most patriotic person I've seen in America right now is?
Who?
D-O-double-G, Snoop Dogg.
Oh, yeah.
He is out at every event cheering for every single athlete. And you have videos of J.D. Vance a few years ago demeaning and belittling Simone Biles. And it's just these right-wing Republicans and their inability to enjoy anything, to have fun at anything is so pathetic. You can even see by Trump's crowds. They're just sitting there. I mean, it's a cult. They don't even look like they're having fun.
No.
I mean, it's really, really pathetic. One thing that is enabling a lot of Trump's crazy is this stat right here. Okay. Harris has raised $310 million in July, and she hasn't even been the candidate for the entire month. And Trump has raised, if you see that little short, kind of reminds me of what Stormy Daniels said when she described his penis, that little red kind of mushroomy looking thing.
The mushroom bar graph?
That's how much money Trump has raised. And then that's how much money Kamala Harris has raised. The crowd size, plus that, plus a victory for the American people, for our country and bringing these hostages home. And he's sitting over there, butthurt and sad. But here's what cracks me up. If you are working on the Trump campaign, you have to have conversations that are completely insane. Like, hey, how are we going to respond to all of these rumors on the internet about J.D. Vance screwing a couch? And then they probably get a tweet and they're like, oh my God, we've lost Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So Rittenhouse basically says he's not going to vote for Trump. The campaign for the president of the United States has to, quote, scramble the jets and pull it out of the parking lot and let's workshop this thing. They browbeat Kyle Rittenhouse, where he makes this dramatic, pathetic, weak U-turn within 12 hours and says, after talking to a lot of people in the Trump campaign, I've now decided I'm going to vote for Donald Trump again.
Let's not forget, Kyle Rittenhouse is a murderer.
Yes.
And Trump welcomed him back. And when he said he wasn't voting for Trump, Trump was like, you're a murderer and I welcomed you. Browbeats him on social media. I'm like, so the president of the United States running on behalf of the Republican ticket is mad that a murderer that he embraced has now turned against him. Now let that sink in. This is the same guy that goes on and on about the murderers and the criminals coming from the border. Yet Kyle Rittenhouse is his #1 fan and he gets mad when he breaks up with them. Murderer. Donald Trump is a criminal found liable for sexual assault. It's unbelievable. The ridiculous stupidity, shit show of incompetence. I don't think you can say it enough. How the crowd size just sends him into orbit. Then he starts lying about the crowd size. Then he starts browbeating the governor, the Republican governor of Georgia. He starts browbeating Georgia State. This man is unhinged. The highlight, of course, is congratulating Vladimir Putin. But when you look at it from afar, when you see his behavior, the dementia, the mental illness, I cannot believe that everyone in that arena did not run out, because even they were shocked by his behavior and his words.
The fact that his campaign is having to spend time to spin Kamala Harris's racial identity. And, oh shit, he just congratulated Vladimir Putin. And, oh my God, we just lost Kyle Rittenhouse. And Trump sends out this crazy, unhinged Truth Social where he says, Kyle Rittenhouse, who's murdered more people than me, direct quote.
Right.
Direct quote.
Murdered more people than me.
Writes that down. And then he goes after the governor of Georgia's wife and like every weak MAGA kept man, because they're all Trump's kept men. He does not come out and say, I'm not supporting this man. He's anti-family. This is dangerous. He says, I'm putting all my focus on defeating Kamala Harris, which means making sure you win.
Right.
The lapdogs and the limp dick supporters of this man, they are the weakest men I've ever seen in my life. But I want to leave everybody with something that kind of slipped a little bit because Trump's crazy headlines take everything. But this is something that's very important to me. Neil Gorsuch did an interview where he warns Biden to be careful with Supreme Court reforms. This is so outrageous because I want to remind everybody that Neil Gorsuch was supposed to be Merrick Garland. Barack Obama won the popular vote twice, and he won the electoral vote twice. Trump's never won the popular vote. Barack Obama's seat was supposed to be Merrick Garland. Mitch McConnell refused to have hearings. So then Trump wins, and then Neil Gorsuch, a minority, cheating, DEI, Supreme Court justice. These people say they are so against all of these things. He didn't earn this on his own merit. This was Republicans gaming the system like they always do with the Electoral College, with gerrymandering, and the arrogance of this man to go on national television and tell Joe Biden to be careful when nobody likes the Supreme Court right now. Nobody likes you, Neil Gorsuch. Nobody likes the beer drinker. Nobody likes the handmaid. Everybody fucking hates Clarence Thomas. Hates. Everybody hates Alito. This was just breathtaking to me. The fact that this man, the way he got his seat, is so against everything that the founders and every way the Constitution was written. We have a massive problem. These people believe they are above the law, and this is a Supreme Court justice's attempt to gaslight people. And nobody that even has an IQ of 100 or higher supports the way this Supreme Court is behaving. Furthermore, this man wants to tell Joe Biden to be careful. I want to tell you, Neil Gorsuch, you be careful, because you stripped away the rights of 180 million American women. And we are coming for you, and we are voting for a lot of things. But one of the biggest things I'm voting for is Supreme Court reform.
Absolutely.
It is out of control. The fact that he doesn't even mention Clarence Thomas and his wife and their sycophancy to January 6th, not to mention Martha Ann Alito, who is a complete psycho. I mean, you can't even call her anything but a nut who's obsessed with flags. She's making imaginary flags in her head. I mean, he doesn't even address that. He just wants to try to troll Biden. I have had it with the court.
The Supreme Court has made a mockery of itself. The reforms proposed by President Biden to get a mandatory code of ethics, to get term limits on their terms in office, that needs to happen. It won't happen right now because the Republicans are in control of the House. But if we vote blue in November, we will have a legitimate Supreme Court with mandatory ethical standards, and the people that have so morally bankrupted themselves for money and power, such as Clarence Thomas, who was referred to the Justice Department for investigation because of his Harlan Crow relationship.
Who's a Nazi?
Who's a Nazi?
It shows you how even Neil Gorsuch, it shows you that those six, they all provide cover for each other. They don't care about ethics, morality, the Constitution, the rule of law. They gave an insurrectionist cover. This is so offensive to me. Yes, the empty seats at the Trump rally, I love that shit. Inject that shit in my veins. The 310 Kamala raised, 310 million, and the little limp dick that Trump raised. I love that petty shit. This is the shit that needs to drive everybody out to vote blue in droves. This is American arrogance, American entitlement, and American corruption at the very top. And we have to send those six justices a message that they fucked with the wrong 180 million women, because we have got to fix that. That just incensed me.
No, it's jaw-dropping. The lack of self-awareness and pure arrogance and narcissism is startling. There's no question.
And he wasn't even supposed to be the pick.
No!
And that's what pisses me off.
And he's got his ethical compromises that we could investigate too with that piece of property in Colorado.
Exactly. Exactly. America's greatest legal mind pumps. Stick with us for more hot takes.
It's so